Hello. Today I am here to talk to you about my newest favorite tech item, Kobo Color Libra. I wanted to start out this video by first saying this is not me trying to influence you to buy one. This is just me telling you things about the Kobo Libra so that when you are looking at your next e-reader, like I was, you might consider not getting another Kindle. So a bit of background, I recently got my Kobo after wanting it for a very long time. I think I saw Kath Reed's had this like over a year ago, and I've been wanting it because of all of the neat features that she featured on her Instagram about the Kobo Libra, but I held off because I still had my old Kindle. I actually bought this Kindle, it's the basic Kindle, in January of 2020. And I was like, you know what, this one works. I don't need a new e-reader if the e-reader that I have right now works. Now, that being said, this Kindle does work. It's just old and it's gone through a lot. It's traveled with me to many places. I haven't had like a proper case on it, really. All of those things combined meant that it works very slowly. It's a little slow grandpa at this point, and also annotating on it was incredibly rough because of the slowness. So it would take forever to highlight and then forever to type something in when I wanted to make a note. And I am a girly who, especially recently, has wanted to just say a lot more when I'm reading a book. So this was very quickly becoming not fun and not something that I would reach for often. And so I was scrolling through Facebook Marketplace one day, and someone down the street was selling their brand new Kobo Libra Color with a stylus and a case for a really, really good deal. So I said, you know what? Need a pick me up. I'm having a hard time. It'll actually be really good for some upcoming international travel that I have, which is like to say, I don't necessarily agree with my reasoning for getting the Libra, but I needed to treat myself, okay? Do as I say, not as I do. Save up and wait until you actually have enough money for getting a new e-reader, and make sure that you actually do need a new e-reader. I just wanted to start out by telling you all of the things I love about it. It is much faster. Of course, I can't really compare my experience with the Kobo with any other e-reader because the Kindle is the only other e-reader that I've ever had. And like I said, like this guy is 5 years old, he's getting slow, and he's seen some stuff. Okay, I've dropped him, thrown him a few times, not on purpose, on accident. I get scared really easily, and then he just kind of goes flying. Take what I have to say about the speed of the Kobo with a grain of salt. I will say, like, you can set how often the e-ink screen resets when you're reading. I found that it's much faster if you set the reset time to only be like once per chapter. It doesn't have that much lag time when it has to not reset as often. So if you're looking for increasing the speed on your Kobo, that might be something that you look into. Also, I love dark mode. My old Kindle did not have dark mode. This is again the basic Kindle does not have dark mode. I have an old basic Kindle, which means I don't have all of those fancy features that make it easier to read on the e-ink screen. It's a huge improvement for me to have dark mode. Another thing that I love specifically about this Kobo is that it has buttons on the side. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm really bad at tapping. I think it's because my thumbs are a lot bigger than I actually think that they are. And so when I'm tapping or swiping, I will tap and swipe in the wrong place. It's a quality of life thing that is very like first world problems. But to have the buttons instead of having to tap or swipe has made my life so much easier. And the other good thing is that you can designate which buttons, like the top button versus the bottom button, which one goes forward and which one goes backward. So if like you personally prefer that forward is the top one, like I do, then you can set that. I'm not left-handed, but I prefer holding my e-reader in my left hand. And so it's just really nice to have like the buttons and easy read. I'm a button girly. I think I was born at that time where we were like getting into like really cool new tech, but we were also still a little bit in the old ages. I'm holding on to my buttons for dear life. There are a lot of things that I could ramble on and on about how much I love the Kobo. But here's the part where I'm going to actually de-influence you from getting a new e-reader and also from getting an Amazon Kindle. First of all, whatever you have right now is always going to be the cheapest option. I know a lot of you probably think like, duh, you don't always need the latest and greatest thing. If your e-reader works right now, stick with it. Make sure you get the best bang out of your buck. Someone was calling me. The thing with tech these days, especially with like iPhones and Kindles, is they'll release something every single year that does like very incremental small updates that make it seem like very exciting, like you need the nice new thing, or they brick it after a certain amount of years and make it really difficult for you to have something for a long time. Try to hold on to tech that is sustainable for a long time. Switching to Samsung has been really nice because I haven't felt the need to upgrade my phone in over 2 years now. The longevity just seems better when you don't use products that are released annually and updated annually with these small, like shiny new updates that in the long run aren't actually really great, giant, innovative things. If you are in a space like where I was, where I had an older e-reader and it was not the greatest quality of life, and you have the money to spend on a new e-reader, let me just give you some stats of 2025 Kindle Paperwhite versus the Kobo Libra Color. Basic price point. Kindle Paperwhite is $199 USD, and it goes on sale often because Amazon does deals and all of that Prime stuff. Like you can get pretty good discount. Kobo Libra Color is $230 USD, and it rarely goes on sale. They do have like annual sales, I heard, during Black Friday, like the regular kinds of sales, but it's very rare. They both have a 7-inch glare-free e-ink screen, so the screen sizes are the same. Other like fancy tech stuff in terms of like refresh rates and RAM, and I'm not going to talk about that because I'm just not that kind of person. I'm going to talk to you about the things that like mattered to me when I was looking at e-readers. Paying to remove ads. On a Kindle, you have to pay to remove ads. Otherwise, when your Kindle is in this locked position, it will show ads for whatever book that it wants to display there. It's just annoying, I think. There are a lot of reasons why you wouldn't like that. And there are a lot of reasons why I don't like it. It's weird that you buy a device and you have to pay additional in order to be able to remove ads from it. You make a one-time payment. I will say it is a one-time payment, but it is an additional payment on top of the device itself in order just to not have ads. That is not a thing in Kobo. When your Kobo is off or when it's locked or sleeping, you see the book that you're currently reading and your progress through it. That's it. Like, I didn't have to mess with any settings. That is just what it displays by default. And so, like, that in and of itself was like a huge plus to me. In thinking about getting a new e-reader, it was like genuinely something that bothered me. It was like, if I get another Amazon Kindle, I have to buy the ability to not have ads on my new Kindle. And that was something that is definitely a huge turnoff for me. The next thing is a very like potentially only me problem. Kindle Paperwhite does not have a compatible stylus as far as I could tell in my research, whereas the Kobo Libra, while it doesn't come with a stylus, does have a stylus that is compatible with it. So you do have to pay $70 extra. I know, but that you do have that capability is a nice to have, I think. And in my case, where I do enjoy annotating, even if it is an ebook, it was a really, really important thing for me to consider. They're at similar price points, right? Like we're talking about a $40 difference, $30 difference, not thinking about like tax or shipping and handling and that kind of stuff. The Kobo Libra Color comes in color, like by default. I think there is a non-color version and it's cheaper, probably closer in price to the Kindle Paperwhite, but to pay $30, $40 more for color, and after the Kindle Color Soft, I believe it's called, was launched and had a huge number of returns because of how disappointed people were with the color and the refresh rate of the screen itself, like I think just says a lot about the tech of the Kindle versus the Kobo. So one thing that I didn't think about but might be important to you is battery life. Now we love a long battery life, and I think the newer Kindles definitely boast much longer battery lives than older Kindles do. For the Kindle Paperwhite, it says on the specifications that it has at least a 12-hour battery, and that's like you're not blasting the light or doing a lot of shopping on your Kindle, like you're just reading at a normal brightness, you'll get about 12 hours of battery. There is no official battery life that I could find, like the length of time battery life for the Kobo Libra Color, but people by and large report that they get like 40 hours, which is an insane amount. I'm sure you can get there with the Kindle if you were to like use like the bare minimum settings. I think I can attest to the long battery life of the Kobo. The Stylus, I'm not sure about. I don't think there is a way to see the charge on the Stylus, but I also haven't had to recharge the Stylus in the time that I've used it. And for reference, I do read on my Kobo every single night for about an hour, so do what you will with that information. The other thing that I think folks should consider when they're thinking about Kindle versus Kobo is we're looking at the prices of content when you actually do buy books. I know a lot of people just use the library with their Kindles, but if you're someone who does like to buy ebooks, I did a little bit of research into this. So I looked at two different books and then also their subscription services for one of my favorite books of all time, O Caledonia by Elspeth Barker. It is $13.99 on both the Kobo and the Kindle store, so there's not a price difference there. For Funny Story by Emily Henry, which is a more popular book, it is similarly $12.99 on both platforms. Now, I know that there is a reward system when you buy books on Kindle. Don't know how that works because I have not bought a book on Kindle for a really long time, but I know that exists. So factor that in as well. And then in terms of subscriptions, so Kindle Unlimited, which is separate from Audible, is $11.99 a month. I've never had Kindle Unlimited, but from what I've seen of what's on there, I don't know that I would get Kindle Unlimited. I also would not get the Kobo subscription, but also I think that's just because I don't know that I could justify having a subscription with how few ebooks I read per month. However, one thing I will know about the Kobo subscription is that there are 3 different kinds. So like I mentioned earlier, with Kindle Unlimited, that does not include Audible, I'm pretty sure. You have to get a separate Audible subscription, but it might be discounted. For Kobo, there is the Just Read, Just Listen, and Read and Listen. Basically what that means is for Just Read, you get access to a smaller library than the Kindle Unlimited library, but it's unlimited access to a library of ebooks for $7.99 a month. And then for Just Listening, if you only want to have unlimited access to a small library of audiobooks, I say small, but I think it's like 150,000 plus books. Again, only $7.99 for an unlimited amount of listening per month. And then if you want to read and listen, so have an unlimited access to both the ebook and audiobook catalog, that is just $9.99 a month. So just a $2 increase to be able to get both ebooks and audiobooks, which I think is pretty cool. And the last point about de-influencing you from getting a Kindle, you're not contributing to a billionaire who does not need more money. I had to say it. Sorry, just pointing it out there. Now that we've talked about that, I will talk about the Stylus because I'm sure y'all are very interested about the Stylus, and I'll insert some B-roll of what it's actually like to use it here as well. So first of all, the Stylus is magnetic, so it magnets onto the side of the Kobo that doesn't have the buttons. You can also put it where the buttons go if that's your jam, but I like having it off to the side. Off to the side, the magnet is not as strong. It's much stronger when it's on the buttons. So keep that in mind. There's also a case, I believe, that wraps around the Stylus, so it holds the Stylus a lot more securely, but I didn't get that case. That's not what came in my Facebook Marketplace bundle. So I would say that the Stylus is actually very comfortable to write with. It's not a completely perfectly spherical barrel. It's a little flat on 2 of the sides, and I'll try to show you as best as I can, but I don't really have an issue with that overall. Really cool thing about this pen is the other side, this little gray button at the top here, it's an eraser. So if you want to erase something, you're writing and you want to erase, just flip it over. You can erase. I love that. I have a first generation Apple Pencil with a very old iPad, and I just geeked out because that's not a capability that my Apple Pencil has. So it's just really handy when I'm making notes. And also, writing digitally is not the same as writing physically. And so my handwriting looks like shite sometimes, and it's really nice to be able to just erase it and be like, just kidding. If you want to use this as a highlighter, all you have to do is press the little button on the front here. You press and hold the little button, and then you highlight as you would with your finger, which I love. Not having to like switch between the pen and the highlighter is really, really nice. To just like literally press a button and suddenly it's a highlighter, and then 2 seconds later, just lift my finger and start making notes in the margin. Love it. When I discovered that, I was like, oh, that's a game changer. I don't want to have to use my finger anymore because, again, my fingers, I don't know what it is. I just have like no facial awareness when it comes to my fingers. And so, like, I struggled with highlighting things in my Kindle, but now I have a pen. Another really fun thing to mention, the colors are still visible if you use dark mode. I've been using dark mode and I didn't know that colors were available for the highlighter and the pen. But if you use other colors, you can still see them in dark mode. Like, dark mode does not change your annotation abilities. Fire. Love that. Whoever thought of that, thank you. And on that note, you can change the size of the pen, so how big the pen writes on the page, and the color that you write with. So if you want to like color code, go right ahead, friend. You can do that, and it's quite easy. I was, once again, shocked because I started using the e-reader and did not read the manual at all. And the last thing that I wanted to mention that's kind of related to the stylus, but if you are a girly like me who loves to yap in the margins, you can change the margins on the Kobo so that you can have like a tiny sliver of text in the middle and then huge amounts of space to write on the margins. There is no restrictions for where you can write anywhere on the screen when you are reading a book, so like keep that in mind. But if you want to specifically have larger margins in order to create more notes, that is possible. That is exactly what I've done, as you're probably seeing with my copy of Noli tangere. So in terms of cons, I think the only thing that I would state as a direct con of Kobo in my month of using it is that the library integration is not as good as Kindle. Kindle has a direct relationship with Libby, and Libby allows you to have multiple libraries and basically just send things from your, smartphone Libby app to your Kindle when you have like an ebook that comes in. Kobo does not have that capability. You get access to Overdrive, so you can log in with your library and you get access to their Overdrive catalog, but it's not quite the same streamlined function as it is with Libby and Kindle. You can only connect one library account to your Kobo, which is a bummer because, as y'all know, I have many library accounts. That's why I'm going to be keeping my Kindle. Like, I'm not getting rid of this. Obviously, like, I've decorated the hell out of this. Look at these decorations. Aren't they cool? That's some of my best work right there. I will be keeping my Kindle just in case, like, there is some book on Libby that is not from the library that I have currently connected to my Kobo and I want to read it desperately via ebook. I welcome any and all feedback, any and all pushback. If we've got some Kindle truthers out there who want to call me a dumb idiot, please feel free. Go ahead. And you really cannot sell me back to the Kindle gang after just 1 month with a Kobo. Like, the tech doesn't get much better than this. They could improve the library integration, but that's something that's totally done like via software update. This is it. This is the e-reader for me. I don't think I would ever use another e-reader. I would rebuy this if something were to happen to this e-reader. Thank you for listening to me yap about my experience with
the Kobo Libra Color. Kobo. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to me yap about my love for the Kobo Libra Color and its stylus and the transition from Kindle to Kobo. And if you do have a Kobo too, or you're interested in getting a Kobo, Let me know your thoughts. Like, what else have you been thinking of? What other things have you found that you are particularly interested in Kobo for? That's all I have for you today. I hope you have a good rest of your day, a good rest of your week. I'll see you next time. Bye.